it was presented to the board in a workshop format.
Right, and since I've been on the board, there's a difference in terms of the thought process. There's decisions that are made up front, and then there's the rubber stamp when those decisions are presented to the board.
Okay, I will go back to, if this is a question, we're not here tonight to determine the process. If this were to move forward and go to a election in May and be approved by the voters, if there's a feeling that how we navigated this past bond project with all the improvements we made around the district, and there's a firm desire by the board, a majority of the board, to alter the way we go through the bond process, then I will certainly abide by the will of the board.
So during this discussion, you had mentioned two things. One is the pushback, which we saw get carried out, and again, the public complaining about not knowing, not having input, whatever. And the other was where I see like the comment about a military school or whatever. It's, well, the public's going to go against this and that. To try and fail is one thing, but not to try at all, where we give up right from the get-go, is something totally different.
And I can tell you that I'm an advocate for pushing initiatives within this district forward, but we also have to prioritize those different initiatives. I can tell you that the individuals in this room on the administrative team are pretty much stretched as far as they can be stretched. And yet I ask them from time to time to be stretched even more. But we have to have an order by which we undertake things. And sometimes you have to walk before you can run. So I appreciate your comment. I don't think, if I thought we were in a position where the biggest initiative on the agenda was to open up, to consider opening a discipline academy or facility of some type, I can tell you I already would have brought that forward. And I can tell you that it's a discussion that I certainly welcome with the Board of Education, but at the same time, there's only so many initiatives that we can do successfully at a time. And we're just about to close out 3 straight years of construction within this district. And I'll just say it, I've been working my tail off to get that accomplished. So to take on something else at the same time has not been super high on my list. But again, I welcome the discussion, and I'm glad to hear that potentially there's an appetite to at least have that discussion at the board level about a program that could potentially greatly benefit our students.
Okay, so,
And students from surrounding communities.
so we're going to just reel this back into this application. Obviously, we need to move forward, because any further discussion or any further desire of this board will mean nothing if we don't submit this application. And I do believe that there's a lot more work and conversation to be had around this process. We know from from experience that that there's a lot of work involved in a bond, and there's a lot of steps in the process. And I would agree with Mr. Bailey that we need to look at who sits on that committee in the future, and potentially change the way we did some things. I think we learned a lot, and we did a lot of really great things for our kids and for our community. So having said that, I will ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mrs. Dean?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Osowski? Chair votes yes. Motion carries.
Was there ever a motion on this?
Yes, at the, before discussion.
It was initiated by Mr. Osowski,
Seconded by Ms.
supported
Miller.
by Latina Miller.
All right. There were no items removed from the consent agenda. Call to the audience, public participation regarding non-agenda items. Y'all look tired. Superintendent's remarks.
I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Board of Education communication discussion, as my past practice has been, I will go down the table. Mr. Osowski. Mrs. Martin.
Nothing. Merry Christmas and all the happy other holidays.
Yeah. Ms. Miller.
Hey y'all, have a good new year.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say the same. Have just have a safe holiday. Enjoy the time with your families. Celebrate in whatever manner that it is your tradition to celebrate, and be thankful and grateful for what you have and what lies ahead. Mrs. Dean.
I echo your sentiments. I'm gonna hug my mom a little longer.
That's right, that's right. Mr. Bailey?
To the chair.
Yes.
So, we heard about the vision screening for our kids. I know we do teeth. Is there anything else?
I think I think we do hearing.
At certain grade levels, the county does hearing testing
Yeah.
as well.
And that's it, just three, right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Also,
Touch.
it is Christmas coming up, and for several years, I've approached the board and asked them if they would be interested in,
What did one?
Yeah, he said that, mentioned the dentist.
Yeah, he did.
so,
He had the teeth and the eyes covered already.
Okay,
What was that, Mr. Bailey?
go ahead, Mr.
So
Bailey.
for several years now on the board, in order for interaction with the public, Christmas cards have been generated and given to different groups. I was wondering if the school board would be interested in having the cards that are being done anyways, written as the Redford Union School Board, or an alternative would be board members, since it's being done anyways, sign individually.
I think we would need to see the, before, I think we need to be careful before we put our name on it as a board, just a blanket approval of that. I think we would need to see it before we could say okay with that.
So if that's the case, there's no time for that? Anybody here?
I can
interested in
offer a
signing it?
suggestion. If you want to sign the cards and provide them to me, I can make them available at central office for people to sign by a certain date, and then we can get them sent.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Is that agreeable?
I'm okay.
And then anybody that wants to come and peek at the card or doesn't have time to do so tonight, they can, I can work with Jackie, we can give them a time by which they need to do that, so they can get out before the holidays.
Yep, I'm okay with that.
All right. The next thing is, you hear a lot here about how we care for our children and how we love them and things of that nature. But I was filling out a grant and dealing with disadvantaged communities and whatever. There's a thing called Safe Routes to School. There are 22,000 feet in Redford where there's not any sidewalk. Like along 6 Mile, somebody in a wheelchair would have to be in the road. If there's any level of snow, if you want to walk along 6 Mile, you're out in the road. Same sort of thing down at Lola Valley Park on Beach. Same thing at Western Field, etc. Now, after almost 200 years that this community's been here, I can't say that it was because of lack of money or initiative or ability. It looks more like it was intentional. So there are grants out there that would are relatively easier to get than going through the federal process from top to bottom. It's called Safe Routes to Schools. What I'd like to do is request to be put on the agenda to present this. I'll send you some information between now and then. The process starts by the school, not the school district, but the school, where they register. Now, what I'm willing to do is approach the other schools in the township, because we're all, whether parochial, charter, whatever, have our kids going along these same routes. And it's something that's fixable, something that's addressable, and under the Constitution, you have the right to movement. And the right to movement is a gateway right for religion, right for trade, right for participation, association, whatever. In other words, if we can accomplish this, it's a cascade effect on the impacts within the communities, especially the disadvantaged communities to our east, which are clear on the EPA map that was presented as part of this grant.
Jackie, could you make a note? We'll put that on an agenda for the workshop in January.
Does that give you enough time, Mr. Bailey, the workshop in January?
That's fine, as long as it gets addressed.
Yep.
And you could, and Mr. Bailey, send the information you have to provide in advance of that workshop. You can provide that to Mrs. Warren.
Very good.
Thank you. All right. Whew, future meeting dates, Monday, January 13th, 2025. Regular meeting, 5:30, right here in the district meeting room. Tuesday, January 28th, 2025, it says 24 in our packet. Board workshop, 5:30. Tara didn't change that date. Monday, February 10th, 2025, regular board meeting, 5:30. And Tuesday, February 25th, board workshop, 5:30. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Osowski, seconded by Ms. Miller. Nobody gets to discuss because I won't let you. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries. Time is 7:58 PM. Woo.